Joined now by Shamila Chetia, acting CEO of South African Tourism. Shamila, good to have you. Thank you very much for coming on. Just by looking, I suppose, at communication that is happening from officials via DIRCO, is that the airspace in the Middle East is currently closed. So not much as far as South Africa that can be done to intervene in that particular space. But there is a degree of support that you could give to travelers who are South Africans stuck in the Middle East. What is that? Good to have you on.
Thank you very much, Thabo. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. Indeed, the situation calls for calm and for patience. South Africans are, of course, affected by this if they are stranded in different parts of the world. And to those South Africans, we say, please contact your travel agents, contact your airlines. And if you are struggling, we have amazing missions across the world with very supportive South Africans. It is your home away from home. So contact our missions abroad if you are still struggling in those spaces. As South African Tourism, of course, we work very closely with the public and private sector to also deal with visitors who might be stranded in South Africa, Thabo. And that is the work that we're doing in coordination with DIRCO, as well as the Department of Tourism, Brand South Africa, and of course the private sector through the Tourism Business Council of South Africa.
Talk to us about what the expectation should be. I'm a South African, I'm stuck in the Middle East, and when I phone my travel agent, what should I be expecting them to do for me if I'm not necessarily a South African, but I'm in South Africa and I want to maybe go back home to those areas that are affected by the conflict? What is the expectation? What am I calling South African Tourism to do for me?
So, Thabo, what is really important for all travelers to note is that this situation of the airspaces being closed is beyond the control of any country, including South Africa, and also beyond the control of airlines and accommodation facilities. Travelers have the option of delaying their flights. They will have the option of rerouting through a different airspace. And they also have the option, of course, of canceling. And with that, the rules that relate to the tickets that they have purchased, to the accommodation that they have booked, will then actually take its course. From our perspective as South African Tourism, we are watching this quite closely. We know over the next 6 months that we have 4.5 million seats in terms of airlines. We also know that the markets or the areas that are going to be impacted by this closed airspace is, of course, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. And to some extent, our African air market, which is impacted by connecting flights. It's hard to know what the complete impact of this is going to be. As I indicated immediately, it's delaying flights. It could lead to cancellations down the line. But I think that the airline industry, as well as the accommodation industry, will do its best to try to assist travelers to reroute and also to maybe delay their travel. In South Africa, through the Federation of Hospitality Association, we have also advised, the private sector has advised their members to proactively contact travelers who they are expecting. They have also advised their members to try to be accommodative of travelers who might be stuck here for a longer period of time. And we're doing our best to show all of our travelers who are in South Africa the warmth and hospitality of South Africans at this time, which is, we understand, very distressing for travelers. But we would ask that you exercise patience and do make contact with your travel agents who are there to assist you to make alternate arrangements.
Let's look at those two options that you're saying. Rerouting, are you saying that there are spaces currently that are open that could, I suppose, allow for people to make that reroute and eventually make their way back home?
Correct. So I will use two examples. We hosted this week Meetings Africa, where we had over 300 exhibitors from 18 African countries, and we had over 300 hosted buyers from around 55 countries. Around 100 of our hosted buyers had challenges because they were basically traveling through the airspace that is now closed. And what we have managed to do is to actually reroute most of those travelers through different routes to get back home. Similarly, Thabo, South Africa and the tourism sector, we have 50 exhibitors that are heading to ITB in Berlin. It's taking place next week. Some of our exhibitors have been impacted by the closed airspaces. I'm also happy to say that South Africa will be able to show up at ITB because we have managed to reroute those travelers through a different route to get to ITB, and then importantly, of course, to get back home. So I think that this is not impossible to do. It is important, though, for travelers to actually look at their tickets and how they purchased it. And your travel agencies are, in fact, your best ally in helping you to make decisions around rerouting, if that's possible, around delaying your travel, and importantly, to look at your options if you're delaying your travel, and eventually, if you're canceling your travel, to explain those implications to you.
What are the cost implications? Let's look at the delay option now for those who would choose that option. In fact, maybe they'll have to take that option because they've got no other choice at this particular point. Is there an intervention in a time of conflict that particular delay would not have a severe financial implication?
So, Thabo, what is very important is that I think many travelers who are frequent flyers did learn during COVID that actually taking travel insurance is a very important part of your travel. Many countries will actually process visas, and the one thing that they do request is confirmation of travel insurance. So travel insurance is available to most travelers. Importantly to note that there is, of course, sometimes a little bit of a delay with returning those funds. And so immediately, that's something that you need to check your travel policies. And again, as I've said, your travel agent is your friend in helping to make these decisions. Airlines are also great in that they do make a plan to reroute travelers, and they do so within the ticket fares that you have purchased. It's really important that when you travel, you actually are informed and you make informed purchasing decisions that could help you in this kind of effect. But I do believe, Thabo, that after COVID, travelers are well aware of these challenges that could arise through no fault of anybody. It's a situation that you have to manage. And I do think that our industry, the tourism industry, but South Africans generally, are warm and hospitable. And our industry, working through our private sector partners, is working very hard to try to accommodate travelers who might be stranded. And to actually make alternate arrangements.
So you're saying the best advice at this particular point, first one, contact your travel agent, but of course, in that particular process, also take a look at your travel insurance policy, what it means for you at this particular point in time, and how they could possibly intervene. Finally, let's talk about the FEDHASA intervention. I'm saying FEDHASA would have spoken, I suppose, to their members in the hospitality sector to also be alerted at this time and maybe be more accommodative of those who are affected by this conflict.
Correct. So FADASA is the largest association that takes care of accommodation, but also suppliers to accommodation. They did put out an advance warning yesterday already to their membership, and they gave them very common sense advice. At this point in time, I think for both travelers, but also for people who are in the tourism value chain, I can't emphasize the importance of communicating. You can't communicate too much at this point in time with either your travel agent or your accommodation provider or with the airlines to understand what the circumstances are.
Dr. Shamila Chetty, I appreciate your time, acting CEO at South African Tourism, and the support that they are currently giving to travelers in the country who would like to make their way out into affected areas as far as airspace is concerned, but also those who are outside of the country who want to make their way back in